Hi everybody, good evening. This is Jean here, Jean Truelove. We've just come in. I'm going to be putting up a video that I had filmed earlier today. We had real good news. Remember our grandbabies and the car insurance paid off. Well, we've been car shopping. We may have to buy a used car, blah, 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 whatever happens with that situation. But today, oh boy, a little gray cloud is hovering over our head. Not quite ours, but it does affect us, and that's what this following video is all about. I don't want to keep being bearer of bad news. It's just life. It's just life, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But something happened yesterday afternoon, which I'm explaining in the video to come, that has impacted our son and our life to a certain extent. But this was my take on it, and our son came down and he said, yeah, go mom, go video it. I had put a video up. I can't find the actual disc that footage is on, but if you want to refer back, I'll put the link below to the video that I'm talking about. So you can try to see the before and what we're dealing with now, what has transpired the last 2 days or so. It's a little bit upsetting, but again, this too shall pass. It'll be okay. It was just a matter that we had gotten very upset about yesterday. So with no further ado, I'll just introduce this video, and then I'll talk a little bit at the end and thank you guys for all of your support. So here we go. Here's to come. Hi everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, I should say. It's Jean here. Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for You. The reason I'm saying this, that I don't know quite when you're going to be seeing this, there's a situation that has arisen of some import, not directly affecting us, but affecting one of our sons. In the beginning of, or the end of October, I had made a video with my husband Ian and I in this actual park shortly after, a couple weeks after the tornado hit in Horsham Township, Pennsylvania, where we had sort of lost our home temporarily. And I was showing you a video of the area, the park, the trees that had been taken down, and we had been walking under this little sort of an underpass through a property, through under the bridge. We'd walk through this underpass to this little lovely bridge that it backs up to our son's property where we live. Our son has 5 acres of property, as you know. A good 3.5 of those acres are wooded, beautiful wooded acres. In the tornado, however, that cut a swathe of destruction through the back of his property, or through the middle of the property, as I was showing you in that video, quite a lot of trees were taken out, as was in the entire area here where the tornado touched down, Upper Dublin, Fort Washington, and Horsham Township, Pennsylvania. To the point that there was a lot of broken trees. You can see that on my previous video. I was wondering, actually, why I made that video, and boy oh boy, it's really awesome because it's going to maybe be used as evidence. What happened is yesterday we were going up to the mountains. Our son has a house in the mountains, and to pick up Maxwell's, our son's quad, his 4x4 quad. And if you remember, we had gone up to the mountains, about 2.5, 3 months ago, and we had left the quad up in our white trailer there, safe. We hadn't brought it back, and it was a good thing we hadn't brought it back, because when our home was impacted with the tornado, with the floodwaters, we couldn't have rescued the quad as well as Maxwell rescued our lawnmower, if you remember. The quad would have been ruined. Well, it's a good thing that it was up in the mountains. So yesterday we went up to the mountains. It was lovely. We saw our sons. We have 9 sons. 7 of them were all up at the mountain house, just lovely, and enjoying bonfire. And there's cabins, they're off the grid up there. So we went up, spent a few hours, and brought the quad back. Well, for some reason, I said to my husband, let's just let's just run by our home, pick up the mail, because I try to go there every day. I hadn't been for 3 days. The 3 days is the operative word. We pull up on the side street, which I'm going to be videoing in a moment. And in front of us, lo and behold, were 4 massive, the largest that you can have, the largest tree cutting company in the area, 4 trucks and trailers with these huge, great big crane grapples on our son's property. The back 3 acres of woods that you had seen. Now I'm going to be walking down here, and again, if you want to see some of the history of this little saga, I'm under the underpass here, under the road, and if you remember whenever you see this, in the beginning of, or the middle of October, I was videoing what you're going to be seeing here. And after the tornado, we were saying, oh, over here to the left of us is the park, and to the right of us is our son's property. I'm going to turn this around, and if you do remember that video of the destruction of the heavily thick far woods that our son had and some of the broken trees, and we were concerned with the dead and broken trees and how the township had come along and cut down to clear this path, I'll show you what was happening as of the last 2 days. Now this is not a small, local company with a chainsaw. Okay? These are earth-moving, massively huge forestry equipment. There was about 4 of these, and skid steers. Now, if you remember, this is the township, and all of the destruction and all of the down trees that needed to be taken down. And to the right of us was our son's property, heavily thick woods. Actually, I want to cry. Heavily thick woods. And okay, what do you see? You see cleared land. What happened was, I'll turn this around. What happened was, when we came around the corner and saw the amount of vehicles and tree removing equipment, we quickly stopped and said, what in the world are you doing? What in the world are you doing? And they're like, FEMA, a person from FEMA was standing there around with about 12 of these tree workers. Wouldn't answer us. The tree company said, oh, I don't know. I said, who is responsible? My husband, Ian, he yelled, stop, stop, stop. What are you doing? At that point, a good 2 acres of our son's woods, private property, had been destroyed with only a few trees remaining. Now you have to understand that there were dead trees. I showed you them. We showed you. There were dead trees from the tornado, and there were down trees that our son actually, if you remember from that video, was going to have a small business processing the firewood and selling it. He has a tractor. He has been doing woodwork, and this was an unfortunate occurrence with the dead trees, but this is what's happened to our son's woods. either FEMA or the township. No one is taking responsibility at this moment, and that's why I'm saying I don't know when you'll be seeing this video, but we yelled at them to stop. There were forestry clearing equipment in this property. This was not a person with a chainsaw cutting down a few of the dead trees. This was a massive, there were 4 massive vehicles, truck, tree clearing and land clearing company, along with the FEMA officials and the township, and no one would talk to us. And the workers were like scattering, like, oh, sorry. Well, here, what happened was they got the map wrong. Oops, our bad. They meant to clear the township's woods. Instead, they brought in 10 massive, huge equipment and a team of 20 or 25 workers to clear our son's. They trespassed on our son's property and cleared out 2 acres of his woods. 2 acres. Now, I was saying previously in my video, oh, wouldn't it be nice if the township cleared out some of those trees? Some of the fallen trees. Some. They've decimated our son's property. His woods, which he bought for hunting, for wildlife. And they not only cut down trees, as you can see, they've taken away all of the underbrush. There is nothing left. There's nothing left until when we stop them. We quickly, I got my, not this camera, I got my phone out and I quickly started taking photographs. Well, again, no responsibility, like, oh yeah, my bad, sorry. Well, my husband, as you know, he's a very gentlemanly Englishman. He, on our son's behalf, who was up at the mountains, he quickly got on the phone to our son, who got onto the tree company because we had their name, and he's like, get off my property, get off my property. He was so upset because he bought our property, which has had some issues, obviously, blah blah blah, with the flooding and everything, but he bought this property for the woods. He's not a tree hugger. Well, there's no trees to hug. He does like to hunt, and he had this property, which is beautiful, which is no longer. A few trees left, some stumps, and everything is gone. Well, the first thing he said is he's like, clear it all out, and he didn't see the scope of the devastation, really, but he did say, they said, oh, we can put hay down and seed it. He's like, that doesn't replace my trees. So anyway, it's huge. It's huge. He came by this morning and we just saw him. We just came over from the house and he was so upset. He was so upset. It's ironic. Here is his tree stand, one of his tree stands. They left. Oh, like there's any deer back here, right? He does hunt. He does eat the food. He does hunt. He gets a deer every year. That's his thing. And they left that. And they got it completely wrong. Well, as I was saying, they were scrambling because someone, if not multiple entities, are in deep doo-doo. Because it's trespassing and destruction of property. 2 acres of, yes, a dangerous woods to a certain extent, but woods can recuperate themselves, woods can renew themselves, and our son was in the process, and I'm going to be showing you in a moment, his tractor. He was doing, as I was saying in the video, he was doing tree work for a neighbor. because of all the trees taken down. He has a huge, great big tractor with a big grappling hook on it. He was doing the work. He was then going to process the wood of all of the trees that were down, the dangerous trees in this area, absolutely. But the township or FEMA or the truck company, no one's taking responsibility at this moment, has done this. Has absolutely denuded our son's property. There are dozens and dozens of mature trees that were actually not knocked over, that were actually not dead, that were just cut down. That were just cut down willy-nilly because someone got the map wrong. We have it on video. We have it on a text. Oh, we're very sorry. So our son came, as I said, he was up in the mountains, he flew down. They've admitted wrong, but as he said, I can't get my trees back. I can't get my woods back. There's 2 solid acres of his beautiful property that a forestry company, and I'm not, as I keep saying, it wasn't a few guys with the chainsaws, it was forestry company. I didn't get enough pictures because we were so upset yesterday. We stopped in the middle of the road and Ian sounded his horn and went running to the people like, stop, stop, because there were cranes and there were excavators pushing down trees. Just there were about maybe 6 or 7 skid steers coming along. They were grinding up the stumps, and Ian's like, what? It was terrible. Thank goodness we came. We would have come, and oh, the kicker was, and I will say it, the FEMA person who wouldn't give us her name was so belligerent. She said, oh, you're about the 5th person in the last 3 days who've come along and said this property belongs to them. I said, this property belongs to our son. We live on this property. What are you doing? Yeah, we'll get in line. We have orders. The workers, the actual workers were scrambling. They all sort of like disappeared. And they all sort of got in the trucks and sort of like left. And then my husband demanded from the one foreman, who was actually very pleasant, who was just doing his job, said, oh, showed my husband a map, which we have now, of the area and of the homes. There's only a few homes here, as you know, and what should have been taken out, the property that way. And our son's name was actually on the township map. It's like an L-shaped flag lot. And my husband said, that's our name. That's you know, my son's name. That's our name. That's the 5 acres of his property. Oh, we should have gone on the other side of the bridge. True love touch of poop strikes again, right? Our son immediately got in touch with our other son about insurance, because obviously, not even insurance, it's going to go further than that. Because our son said, well, they've made a mistake. They've admitted their mistake in writing. Oops, our bad. Said, well, they may say, well, what will it take to replace the trees? Well, our son said, well, you know, these were 80, 100 foot trees that have been in these woods for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. One tree that they come in, you know, with those great big, you know, pick it up, one tree is, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. There's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of trees. So is that a viable issue? We don't know. But someone has to take some responsibility. And they sort of did, but they sort of didn't. Like, oh, then it was like, then it was sort of like, well, you should be happy you got tree work done. You got all those dead trees taken out. And we're like, our son was going to spend days and weeks and months and years probably taking the dead trees down. This is his property. He's had it for years now. He knew that the trees were dangerous. We said that. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But not the entire woods, not his entire forest. Just come along, and in 3 days, an entire forest has been cleared, stripped down to the dirt. Nothing left, no undergrowth. Where are the deer going to be? Where are the small animals going to be? Fortunately, that still belongs to him. Our house is over there. Fortunately, we stopped them. They would have taken out, they've already taken out 2 acres. They would have taken out approximately 4 acres because the last acre is where our house is. So that's the situation we find ourselves in. Like I said, oh, he was upset. He was upset. First thing he says, where's all the deer gonna go? You know, me feeding my deer, and anyway. So, you know, and then also the guys are like, well, I sort of felt sorry for the workers. They were like, oh, do you want some wood? We have a ton of wood. We can't get rid of it because this whole area, the tree companies are inundated with work. They're like, oh, we'll bring you back some wood. And Tom's like, I want my trees. I want my lovely trees. My trees that weren't dead. Oh no, so many. No. Don would walk back here. It's like, oh, that needs to go. That needs to go. They took out everything. So, as I said, now this will be an ongoing thing. Could take a long time, but mistaken culpability has been admitted. And I will let you know. Now, if you remember, let's turn the camera around. If you remember me walking up through here, right? Remember, there's the road. I was walking up through here through a heavily thick wood. Look at it. They've turned our son's forest into a field. He didn't buy a field. He bought a 5-acre wooded lot. The powers that be. And the one power that be is really nasty. Ignorant, silent, wouldn't look at us, wouldn't give us her name. So my husband took pictures. We have pictures, we have photographs. And they then sort of all skedaddled. They just sort of like, oh. And as I said, our son has quickly come down from the mountains today. Apparently it was taking place. That's how, or 2 days, Friday and Saturday, the work was being done quickly. Takes, 100 years to grow a forest, and 2 days for, equipment to knock it down. So as I said, it will be ongoing. And renew itself, but not with the hundreds of trees that were just cut down. So I was just here, okay? This entire area here, from over there, the little bridge, from this point over to here, has been cut down. This, as you can see, is where the tornado damage hit. These are dead trees that need to be taken down. So they did not start kindly or, you know, doing stuff a favor. They didn't start with the dead trees. This is where the tornado hit, and with the dangerous trees, I should say, not the dead trees, the dangerous trees. They didn't take down those dangerous trees because they're still standing there because we stopped them. They took out, there were half a dozen dangerous trees here, which were broken. They took out the entire, other than just a few left, up to this point. That is still dangerous. That's where the tornado hit. So if you would have thought, oh, well, they're doing the township a good favor, they're doing us a favor, they're going to take down the tornado ravaged trees. They didn't start there. They started at the healthy area. And the fact, I won't say who, but several people have said, oh, that's our property. They're like, oh, that's not your property. Somebody said that that's their property. We're like, no, 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 no. It's not their property. They had the equipment in here. Speed limit 25, where did that go? Because you can see where they put the hay in. You can see where they're trying to reclaim this land here. Oh, here, we'll make it pretty for you. We'll put some seed on, and we'll you know, put some hay down. As I said, our son didn't buy a field. He bought woods. Never, no longer. They did say, oh, we'll clean this up too, which they haven't. All this mess. This was bought out of the woods. As you can see, the crane and the excavators went down there. They've created that hump, and they just stripped down to the dirt. All of everything. But it was a panicked, sad state of affairs. What are you gonna do though? What are you gonna do? That's life. But I'm gonna go up to we have two neighbors. I want to go up to our neighbor's house, and I'll show you our son's tractor. This here is the back of our neighbor's house. As you can see, the fence has been completely impacted. This tree came down in the tornado. But right there, if you can see over there, hopefully you can see it. Let me hone in here. That is our son's tractor. He's been processing a lot of the wood for our neighbor. So he's been doing this. This was what he was going to do. Our home is over there, right behind here, right behind the tractor. So he was going to take down, as you can see, the property goes over there and then up there. That's his property over there. He was going to, with his tractor, he was going to process the trees. Well, that ain't happening anymore. So, what do you think of that, folks? That's a shame, isn't it? I mean, we know that, like, the woods and the trees, the little tiny trees that are left that are this big, it will rejuvenate themselves and regrow, but not to what our son and daughter-in-law had purchased and had enjoyed, and we enjoyed. We had fox, and you know that we had fox and deer and rabbits and squirrels and turkeys and groundhogs and raccoons. You know, we had all sorts of wildlife, a lot of it, and with the woods gone now, and all up near the busy road, it's gone to a great extent. Fortunately, we stopped them before they could impede on the rest of the property. But as you see up near the road, they've done a job of making a fairly big, pretty field of it. But as we said, we didn't purchase a field. Anyway, so that's our little tale. It'll be okay. I will keep you apprised of any situation that happens. I always say Truelove's, man, we have stories. It could only happen to us, right? Even our son is like, oh, mate, you know, like, what's today? It's all right. It'll be okay. It'll all come out in the wash. But we had a bit of a fright yesterday, a little bit of a shock. And, yeah, we don't need all this hassle, do we? but maybe it'll be okay at the end of the day. We'll see. But I think it's going to be a big, huge ongoing mess of people apportioning blame, perhaps, like, we didn't know, or they didn't, well, they told us, well, da, 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 da. So it's probably gonna be whatever it is. So anyway, thank you so very much. I wish I had good news to bring to you. Not all good news today, but it'll be okay. So anyway, thank you again, folks, for all your support. And as always, love from the Trueloves. Bye-bye.